of the new series. We're gonna be working on this 2007 that we picked up. Mara, are you excited?
Dude, it's gonna be a full-on ripper when we're done.
Yeah, so we're
So
the whole goal is this is taking you guys through the process all the way from buying a truck
Bone
to
stock.
that 1,000 horsepower.
Yep. It's a goal. We're not gonna stop until we hit 1,000 horsepower on our dyno.
Yeah, and if it needs a motor build, it'll get a motor build. But basically this is a 2007 that we picked up in Salt Lake City. It was on a flash sale through a dealership. Went up there with cash, got the deal done. It has a lot of miles on it, which, to be fair, like, we were kind of just budget minded at this point. So we got the truck really cheap.
And what a lot of people don't realize is when you have a lot of miles on one of these motors, that means she's gapped and ready to go. Like, you're not gonna be scuffing rings on this thing.
So if you guys have ever followed along or listened to us as we talk about engine build, stuff like that, you hear us talk about piston wall, ring gaps. Well, on high mileage motors, they're built. We got ourselves a high mileage engine, not a big deal. So I'm gonna just kind of try to do a short video here. Got Meyer as a co-star today. Kind of what to look for when you're buying your first Cummins. Some of this is third gen related, some of this is just Dodge related, and we'll kind of go through that. So first thing you're gonna want to do is obviously you want to negotiate a price, which I'm not the best car buyer or seller, but I will say when I walked in there I had cash. I didn't pay what they listed it for, and I got them to take the anti-theft package off because I was like, honestly, who's gonna steal this, right? Like it's clapped out. And then I just did a quick walk around, made the deal. The things I look at when I'm Dodge, just whether it's a first gen all the way to a fifth gen, what you can do is when you're checking the front end, the first thing you want to do is you want to have like a buddy. So what I did at the dealership, I took the truck's jacked up the front end, and you're just gonna rock the tire back and forth, and you're checking for ball joint and hub play, because those are big expenses that can rack up quick. And then you're gonna check the steering. To do that, you're just going to, what I did is I had the sales guy go in the truck and turn it, and I looked underneath. You're looking for worn tie rod ends and track bar bushings. And then for Dodges, what you want to look at, especially when you're buying one that could be kind of rusty, you're gonna look in the doors, right? Like under here, they'll get a ton of rust. This one was actually pretty clean. It wasn't too bad. You want to check in the fender area, because Dodge loves to put seams. So you'll put your hand back here and you'll see the rust started. All right, the other spot you gotta look at is on the bed. As you can see, this one did get some rust. It's not terrible. We might fix this, or we'll just put some fender flares over it, but it's very common for this to happen. And then you want to look at the frame. Now, for some reason, this truck had a lot of rust in the fender, and the frame looked really nice. Even the front end looked very nice. So not a big deal if it's a little rusty. For what we're trying to do with it, it doesn't need to look good, it just needs to go fast. And then the other things I'll look at is you'll look in the bed. Clearly this is a factory rubber bed liner. There's no evidence of a gooseneck hitch or a fifth wheel bars, so you can assume this truck didn't tow very heavy. And then you just kind of look around. This one didn't have a lot of damage. I mean, it's got some body damage, but again, for what we were trying to do with this, it wasn't a big deal. So you look at the front end, you look at the rust, you look at the brakes and stuff like that. The dealer put new tires on it, so we'll probably run those for a little bit. The brakes, I mean, they stopped, so that's all we really cared about. On the interior, like any third gen, seat wasn't actually all the way torn, which is nice. That was a plus. Even the armrest, this is very common, and I wasn't that worried about it. All right, so now you're looking under the hood. As you can see, stock airbox. We have a stock turbo, stock manifold, stock horn. No evidence of any wires, stuff like that, being tapped. The other thing, I don't remember where I learned this from, but check your coolant bottle. If it's got a mark on it, chances are you might have a leak. This one didn't, which was pretty awesome. And then you're just gonna kind of make sure you don't have any issues with the radiator. Everything looks good. So then you move on to the test drive. All right, next, you're gonna wanna start it. The first start's kind of important. So I specifically asked the salesman, I was like, hey, don't start it I just want to have the first start of the morning. It was like 41 degrees outside, and you just want to make sure it's not already warmed up. You can hide some issues on a cold start if they've already got it up to temperature before you get there. So then you're just going to go ahead and start it. Now, when you're starting these, you're looking for blow-by, compression, check engine lights, and how it starts, if it smokes, stuff like that. This is a great example of a truck that has bad injectors. I bought it knowing that, just so I could show you guys in this video. Plus, we're gonna put injectors in it anyway, because I mean, 1,000 horse, obviously. So, as you can see, mine's already up to temp, but it's gonna start terrible. Here you go. Let me roll. That's another thing too. Check out all the power options. This one worked. Mirrors worked. All the lights worked. The stereo works. Heat, air conditioning worked. So here you go. Here's the startup. So as you can see, it kind of started terrible. That is a symptom. That long crank is a symptom of bad injectors. And if you look, this is pretty much a stock truck, and we got a little bit of smoke, which is another common issue. And then you're just kind of checking. Obviously, the coolant hose, you want it to not be firm. So you can see I could still crush this one. That means the head gasket's good. And then you're gonna do the old blow-by test. Take the cap off. That's about what I would expect for a 300,000 mile stock bottom end. So I really wasn't that worried about it. You could put the cap over here. Cap doesn't really move around, so acceptable. And yeah, you just kind of check, look it over, listen to it idle. This one's actually pretty smooth for bad injectors. But yeah, she's quiet. She's got a sweet hole in the muffler, and she also has a cap. So when I say this truck was stock, I tried to find the stockest truck I could. We even got some sweet damage. But anyway, runs pretty good. Mint. Chrysler. Seat belts for safety.
Started there.
Dude, all bark, no bite on this bad man.
Transmission hooks and books.
So here it is, guys. Obviously we have, between myself and Meyer, have a pretty decent Instagram following. After I posted that questionnaire of like topics for a podcast or whatever, I looked at what everybody was saying, and a podcast wasn't gonna cut it. Like,
no.
Clearly we needed some YouTube. So bear with us. I'm gonna try and edit most of these. Meyer's gonna show me a little bit. So we're gonna transform this 2007 into that 1,000 horsepower, just because that seems to be really relatable. And we're gonna make a few stops along the way.
Yeah, we're not gonna go straight to 1,000. We're just gonna, like, you know, hit that, you know, 400, that 600, you know, a couple different stops, just try to like show the natural progression and show you the whole way along, like what does it take, like everything, like lift pump, you know, supporting mods, everything. The trans is gonna have to be gone through. I mean, yeah, just every little step that you would do to get your truck to 1,000 horsepower.
And I'm really excited. We're also gonna do a little comparison between an S300 3rd gen drop-in and a HE351 modified.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are gonna be pretty blown away
By how much that little B51 will.
Yeah, like when I talk to people and I recommend the HE351, they're always very hesitant
And I mean, that's what I have on mine, and I love it. It's a great turbo. So
we're gonna get that all set up. You know, like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. This is gonna have to be a grassroots operation. We're not made of money, but we're trying to kind of push the industry forward and get you guys some good content on people that are just like you guys, DIY people, stuff that you can do, with the exception of the trans, that you need a little bit of specialty tools for. The rest of the stuff, like, you can do in your driveway, and that's kind of what we're trying to show. And just doing the 07, we didn't have to worry about any emissions problems or anything like that. And this is a very common truck, the 03 to 07. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of them out there, and hopefully you guys learned something. So
yeah,
stay tuned.